Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Intercultural Insiders. My name is John McGraw, and I help expats and newcomers feel confident in their new country in less time and pain. I am the founder of Hyaku Coaching, which is dedicated to helping you create your pathway to success in a new culture. And I'd like to remind everyone of the purpose of Intercultural Insiders. The purpose of this show is to share the stories of people with intercultural experiences. So if you're feeling isolated or lost, you can hear something from the guests' experiences that could help you, or they may have advice that would be very useful for you, even if it's just to remind you that you're not alone. And by rising to the challenge of adapting to a new culture, we can become better versions of ourselves. And today is, of course, part 2 of a 2-part interview with Doris Haddad, who is a master certified career counselor and coach. If you missed part 1, you can go to the Hyaku Coaching YouTube channel at youtube.com at Hyaku Coaching, which is again, to spell Hyaku, it's Hiyaku Coaching. So you can see all of the past episodes and current episodes there. And some of you may, in fact, be watching it live on YouTube right now or on LinkedIn Live. So, a quick reminder about Doris Haddad. As I mentioned, she is a Master of Education Career Counselor and Master Certified Career Coach, and she has an extensive background in both public and private sector. She worked as an HR advisor and career counselor in the federal government, and she now pursues career coaching on her own. And she has years of experience working with internationally trained professionals or newcomers in helping them transition into career success in Canada through effective job search techniques. So if you're looking here for advice on how to find the best path towards your dream job, your career in Canada, this is the episode to watch, along with part 1. So, as I mentioned, this is part 2 of a 2-part interview. Some of the highlights that Doris covers in the interview is what Canadian managers look for in a good employee, why you need to sell yourself in Canada, the importance of looking for a transitional job instead of a survival job, and getting into that mindset and how important that is. So, as you may know by now, this interview is recorded. However, for everyone watching live, you can comment and ask questions in the chat. Doris is going to be here in the chat and she will answer questions for you. And I, of course, will show comments on the screen and answer questions as well and type them in the chat. And of course, there will be time after the interview for some additional options and additional questions to answer. And I'm also going to talk about a new development in the group coaching course for newcomers that I mentioned in previous episodes. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So, and last but not least, of course, there will be a preview of the next guest for the next set of interviews for Intercultural Insiders. So, without further ado, let's watch part 2 of the interview with Doris Haddad. What would you say would be some of the most important points for someone who is internationally trained and looking not only to find work, but to succeed in Canada?
Yeah, to succeed here in Canada, what employers want, especially, is a very positive attitude that I can do the job and I can help your company. So that's number one is the attitude, and the communication skills are very important. So I do assess my clients when I'm speaking with them. I make sure that it's clear, the communication. If not, a lot of my clients will take advanced English courses, and then also the flexibility to take on different roles at work. You are hired in a certain profession, but at times you may be asked to do another function that's still similar to, say, your field is accounting, but they want you to do something like work on QuickBooks at this moment. So that it shifts a little bit. But the fact that you're still doing something in your field and you're showing flexibility, that you're ready to take on another role in the organization to help out, to grow, the organization. These are the soft skills. You don't have to be a manager to be a leader. And we do find the clientele from administrative all the way up who need to demonstrate leadership skills, ready to be resourceful, ready to communicate and get what is required to do the job. So these are what I've seen. So the good attitude, the flexibility, the leadership skills, and the communication skills, all those four are very important. Technical skills for internationally trained professionals, it's all about what you're known for in your field, but it's important to also find out what is new in your field and take some training if necessary. A lot of my clients take online training in order to increase their skills. So they will proceed and take what is required in order to benefit the organizations in Canada. Search on what's new in our profession in order to increase such skill and be able to promote ourselves, take such program training or even on the job training to show that you're interested in growing by learning. Lifelong learning is very important. So, really hold on to what is it that your technical skills offer and what additional skills do you need technically in order to help the organization grow.
That's something that I think all of us can benefit from, not only internationally trained professionals. And what you said, of course, about attitude and the soft skills as well. When you say having a good attitude, what does that mean in a Canadian context? What is an employer expecting when it comes to a good attitude?
Yeah, coming in with a positive perspective. No complaining, no being skeptical. So you go in there saying, I'm very happy to learn, and it's something that is going to help your organization, but help me too. So that's one part of attitude, but also being loyal to the organization that you're coming in to work for. So showing that you're part of the team. You love working in teams, even though you work alone, you still have to come into work meetings as well. You're also flexible, like I mentioned earlier. So, really showing that you're ready to go, you're dynamic, you're ready to work with your team members, and you see everything as a positive experience.
You also mentioned a willingness to learn. How important would you say it is to be proactive and taking action?
The resourcefulness, very important, being proactive, finding the solutions you need to find, speaking with your own networks that you've developed in order to help you do the job that you were hired to do. So, yes, to me, that's very important. Taking initiative, resourcefulness, all of this is common to what you are asking, and employers very much are looking for that. So, I often provide my clients different definitions of these competencies that are out there, and I say, tell me about a time that you were using initiative to do the work that you were hired to do. Because these kind of questions are common. Employers today in both public and private sector are asking such behavior-based questions. They say that past behaviors will predict present and future behaviors. So always be ready with an answer of how you've showed different soft skills and technical skills too. Describe the situation very briefly, the actions you took to show initiative, and what was the results of the actions? So there's a common approach you could Google. It's called STAR approach, STAR. The situation or task, the actions you took, and the results of your action. This is what intrigues the employer to want to hire you because they see that you are resourceful and someone who's a hard worker.
It fits very much with some of the things that I've mentioned in a couple of talks about Canadian workplace etiquette and expectations. And one of the points that I emphasize is to sell yourself. Can you speak to that about how important it is in Canada to sell
Yes,
yourself?
very important because, of course, we are all faced with competition. But when you sell yourself, you promote skills that stand out for you, that are natural for you, that you're known for, that you've been praised about. So I often bring forward for my clients what is maybe a little bit unique about yourself. So sometimes my clients will say, I have a great sense of humor. This is how I stand out among my competition. I'm bilingual or trilingual. So that adds value to an organization as well. And so the idea of selling yourself is selling your skills, selling how you stand out, and showing to the employer that I could make your company win. I'm able to do what you're asking me to do, but also go beyond with these additional skills that I have that my competition doesn't have.
So I'm hearing that it's really about helping yourself to stand out from the competition and how important that is in Canada. You've probably encountered clients who may have felt reluctant to do that based on their personality, or perhaps it was not something that was common in their culture. I've had that experience when I've talked with Japanese, for example.
People who have been raised to not talk about themselves in this way, they need to look at shifting a little bit. And they tell me, I understand this is how it is in Canada, so I will talk more about myself than if you tell me it's okay. And I say, oh, yes, here we need to market ourselves, we need to promote our skills. So a lot of it is me having role plays with such individuals who struggle. And while role playing, the client will get more accustomed to talking about themselves and they'll start feeling more comfortable about it. And then once they go through interviews, it gets easier as they go on promoting their skills, talking about themselves. And in the end, they win their position and they get very excited and they understand better the job interview in Canada.
That whole idea of practicing and role playing it out to build that comfort level is such
Yes.
a valuable thing. Yeah.
Definitely. It's always important to have a practice with a friend or a counselor, coach, and then you'll see that it gets easier as you go along.
Sometimes many newcomers are focused simply on finding a job, any job. And of course, obviously, there are concerns for survival, the immediate needs that you have for shelter and for food. But some people get so focused on that, they might end up sacrificing longer term success. Do you ever get into talking about terms of long term success beyond finding an initial job?
Yes, I do encourage my clients to focus more on their passion, their profession, the job that they want to do next, as opposed to the survival job. And yes, they do these types of positions where they just go and take something in order to earn income. We call it transitional job now, is what I'm hearing as a better term than survival, because it's a transition to get you from doing maybe a simple position to getting transitioned into a level that you're better off in. I like that word better because sometimes you can become a project coordinator. So it's not exactly the kind of job you want to do. You want to be a project manager. However, you're transitioning, you're taking project coordinator for now to be able to transition into a project manager position, or you're taking a bookkeeping position and then eventually you're going to transition to an accounting position. So I do promote the idea, try to find a simpler position as a short term situation where you can transition into something that is exactly your field, as opposed to taking a position at one of the retail stores, coffee shops, driving Uber. Try to avoid these type of roles. Instead, take a role that is at a lesser experience level, but in your profession so that you could grow and transition into the role that you want to do at your level.
I really like what you've said about transitional versus survival. A lot of it really comes down to mindset. And I can see that if you're thinking of something as a survival job, it could almost lead to a sense of being stuck there. Transitional, it's the sense that it is something that is going to lead to the path that you want to take towards a career. And as you said, picking something that's connected to your field, the field that you want to end up in, is so important.
Yes, that's right. And transitional sounds more like temporary. It's just for a temporary time. And then soon you'll get something that will be a long term situation for you. So, yeah, I really love that term. I prefer it when I hear, oh, I have a survival job. I said, what is that about? Oh, I'm doing some small contracts in my field and it's not exactly a permanent situation. Oh, I say you're transitioning. You're going to get to the permanent level that you want to be in. And that's where I help them with my career practices. I help them to take something maybe at a lesser level. So what we do is to look at their resume and we'll shift the resume to make it sound like I'm willing and ready to be in a level at with less demands, less experience. And then this way they don't look like they're overqualified because employers worry about that. But if you're ready to take a level that is lower for you, let's promote that in your resume so that you could show and prove to the employer that you're willing and ready to take a position that won't strike you as overqualified, but a position that will satisfy you and you're excited to be in so that you could understand the workplace environment in Canada. I always use strategy. What is the situation that you're being faced with? What is your deadline of having to earn income? Are you finding yourself feeling a little depressed? So let's look at a strategy to get you somewhere where it's still related to your skills. At least you're in your profession and you're ready to work up to getting to being where you want to be and strategizing all the way to success. That's how I stand out. And with other career counselors is I really focus on strategy more than let's just go through the books of how to job search. I look more at strategies and how to help you overcome the challenge in a short time to be able to land a job in your field and grow within your field.
So you're giving them what they need to be able to plan and find that way into that path as opposed to just getting a job.
Exactly. That's how I see it as well. And it makes you satisfied as well and excited that you've studied all those years, you've been exposed to your field for a long time. You want to be in your career as opposed to being in any job. That's for sure.
Having a sense of the culture and the similarities and differences and how you can leverage them to your advantage can add to that satisfaction and finding what you need along with the career strategizing.
Exactly. Very important to be aware of cultural similarities, preferences, differences. All this is so intriguing for an organization because they'll find themselves being at the forefront and past their competitions. There's a lot of benefit to it. It's just going to make a win win situation for the organization and the internationally trained professional. I am exposed to a platform called immigrateness.ca.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it's a platform to unite all of the resources that someone who is looking to relocate to Canada might need in terms of career success, legal help, and many other services.
Everything to do with coming to Canada. I'm involved in the career coaching, job searching aspect. And you could see the different packages that I promote there. The same packages are offered to Canadians as well. But I find that this is where I'm finding myself getting into a niche, helping people from abroad, but also the services that I offer for people from abroad are completely transferable and useful to the Canadian culture as well. Yeah, so I'm excited about that. I love working with people from different cultures because I learn a lot as well. I have my little globe here too that I look at sometimes. I get excited because I'm now going to be serving people from Ukraine in the coming weeks in Ottawa, and that's exciting because it's another culture that I love to add to my portfolio of cultures. Yeah, anytime people want to reach out to me, you can find me through immigrateness.ca, and that's how I could set up a meeting with you to chit chat for 10, 15 minutes, and then we could see if any of the services would help you.
Are there any other avenues where people might be able to reach you?
Yeah, and my email address is simple. It's Doris at careerstrategy.ca, as well as LinkedIn, of course. You can send me a message. I have a good 30 years of both Canadian mixed and then the last 10 years with international trained professionals. I'm very excited, happy to meet people from all over the world. And I find this area that we're both in, John and I, helping people from different cultures is really the future for organizations by bringing forward different skills, different perspectives, and different ways of seeing things. I think it's just going to benefit any organization in the future.
This really is for the future for Canada to be competitive on the global stage, to embrace that diversity. Being in Toronto myself, I really like Toronto's motto, which is diversity, our strength. And I think it applies not just to Toronto, but I'm sure you would agree that it applies to all of Canada as well.
I find it applies everywhere. Diversity is our strength, and that's completely who Canada is. And I think that's a very good model to have. And yeah, that's the way to go. That's for sure.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and your insights and your expertise. I'm sure that many people will benefit from hearing what you've had to say today, and I'm sure they will get even more benefits from having a one to one conversation with you.
Thank you so much, John. It was my pleasure to share my wealth of information, and I look forward to serving all populations. Thank you again for having me here on your show.
Thank you very much. And what a fantastic interview, part two with Doris. All of the information that she's included with everything from part one and part two. And again, if you want to see part one, you can go to the YouTube channel for Hiyaku Coaching on YouTube, youtube.com/at Hiyaku Coaching. That's HIYAKU coaching. So, with all of that information that Doris has given us provided with her expertise in helping you find a job, of course, once you find a job, uh, there's a question of how you advance and progress in a Canadian workplace. And that can be challenging because understanding the work culture is essential, which is why I'm launching a group coaching program for ambitious newcomers to Canada who want to create their roadmap to success after getting a job. So I am going to show you a little bit here about how to find out more about the Canadian Success Group Coaching for Newcomers waitlist. So this is a program that, as I mentioned, is going to be launching in early 2023. And if you want to get the latest updates on that, then there's no better way to do that than to join the waitlist. And the question is how to do that is you go to the Hiyaku Coaching website. So you could go to the website and take a look and just go to book a free call. That will take you to the offerings page. And once you're there, you can select, of course, the Canadian Success Group Coaching for Newcomers waitlist. And once you go there, you can get more information about the program and what is going to be offered. Of course, this waitlist will give the latest update about the Canadian Success Group Coaching for Newcomers program, launching in early 2023, as I mentioned. And it goes into some of the details about what will be included in the program, such as a one-to-one discovery call, an intercultural development inventory report to get a sense of how strong your intercultural skills are, personalized IDI debrief, and those are all one-to-one sessions in addition to the bi-weekly group coaching sessions and optional additional one-to-one sessions. And there is no cost or commitment to join the waitlist to find out about the program. But if you do, when you do join that waitlist, you will have access to a discount when the price is announced and the dates are announced later this year. So getting on that wait list, there's no commitment, and it also gives you access to a substantial discount once the price is announced. So I highly recommend going to check it out if you are interested in finding out how to advance and succeed in your career once you've found that job. So if you are interested in learning more, go to thriveglobally.ca, the website, and you can find out more. And specifically, if you want to jump straight to the scheduling webpage, just go to thriveglobally.ca/scheduling to find out more information there. So we'll take a few minutes, of course, I see, just to get some comments in there. And yes, again, diversity, our strength, as Doris emphasizes as well. So in the comments there. Again, I love that motto. It's such an essential thing to, I think, Canadian society. As we already know, there are going to be, by 2025, in 2025, the intention is to take in 500,000 newcomers. And well, there are opportunities there, but it's not necessarily an easy path. As anyone who knows who's transitioned to another country to get into that. So again, having that awareness, working with a career counselor like Doris Haddad, getting coaching on adapting to the culture, understanding things like the importance of networking and what works, what are the expectations in a workplace, and understanding how your own culture affects the way that you think. All of these things can come from working with a skilled and trained intercultural coach. So, mentioning some other things that have come up, that are coming up quite soon. Uh, I, as you may know, am associated with an organization called BMG, Brilliant Minds Group, which is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to helping newcomers and international students to adapt and succeed in the culture. And on December 17th, they have a major event coming up to celebrate the year of collaboration that Brilliant Minds Group has been running for the past year, various events to help newcomers get in touch with people who have knowledge and industry leaders. And this event on Saturday, December 17th, is going to be at the event. There will be leaders from communities in the GTA and representatives from organizations in the community. So this is an opportunity for newcomers and international students to learn more, make connections, highlight your brand proposition. And this is going to be at the Pearl Banquet Hall at 1638 Aimco Boulevard in Mississauga from 5 to 11 p.m. on Saturday, December 17th. To find out more, you can get in touch with Brilliant Minds Group board members Shahzad Gidwani and Dina Sharma. You can also contact them through LinkedIn, going to the BMG Brilliant Minds Group website, or go to bmggrp.ca. And I think that's going to be an incredible event to attend, to find out more about what you can do and get in touch with other people who are looking to help newcomers and to highlight what you can do. And yes, Doris also mentions, in addition, the importance of networking. Expectations in the workplace are very important areas to discuss in a career coaching session. Yes, thank you very much for that, Doris, and for your presence here to answer and comment throughout the interview. And in addition to that, with everything else that's been going on, so the group coaching program that I'm highlighting in 2023, again, to find out more, go to thriveglobally.ca, and you can go to the scheduling page to find out more about that. And of course, let's not forget the next episode of Intercultural Insiders, where we're going to have a new guest. And for those of you who have more of a focus on the United States or have an interest in Japan, this next guest should be very exciting for you. We'll be interviewing Chie Schuler, who is a coach for Japanese expats and their families who are moving to the United States, specifically in the Midwest. Chie Schuler has a great deal of experience living in the United States in various circumstances. So we'll talk to her about her early experiences growing up in Japan and exposure to cultures there, moving to the United States for studies, moving back to Japan, moving back to the United States, and her path to becoming a coach for Japanese expats and using her own experiences to help others. And I think that's going to be, again, if you have a particular interest, or even if you don't have a particular interest in Japan or the United States, again, her stories of adapting to a new culture and helping others to do the same, I think is going to be inspirational for anyone who is going through those experiences. I certainly experienced that myself when I had my conversation with her. Because again, the main purpose of Intercultural Insiders is to collect all of these stories that people have of adapting to other cultures and helping others to adapt to other cultures, to at least know that we are not alone. And again, just a final word from Doris, thanking everyone for the participation. So thank you very much for your participation in the episode today. It's been a wonderful experience. So looking forward to seeing all of you next time for Chie Schuler on the next episode next week, Wednesday, November 23rd at 12 p.m. Eastern. Thank you very much.